Hello, this is Transformers fan G138. I'm here with a video review of Transformers Generations Starscream. And I feel like I've already done a Generation Starscream, and that's because we have. Anyway, this is the Armada version, if you couldn't tell that from the title. But, anyway, I really enjoy this character from Transformers Armada. Like, ridiculously enjoyed his character. I thought he was one of the more developed characters in the series. Also, I really like Armada, because that's the series I grew up with. Alright, so, on a further note, this is his vehicle form. It's kind of different. I mean, it's a jet, it's a plane, it's Cybertronian, it's Earthian, I don't know. Yes, I said Earthian. Anyway, I do like some of the aesthetics they put in it, like the yellow up here. I could do without the yellow back here, but yeah, what you gonna do? Now, if I had room here, there we go. Underside, I like the fact that they put in this little gizmo here that covers up his face. Although it feels to me like that was a last-minute addition. I don't know why. You can definitely tell by feeling around here that there's two different types of plastic. There's the red plastic they use up here, and there's this plastic down here that's, it feels almost fake. It's the same type of plastic they use for the yellow, but, I don't know, it feels like it to me it's just unpolished or something. I have no idea. It does have retractable landing gear, which is rare on Transformers these days. He has Minicon ports scattered throughout, a total of 4 of them. In vehicle mode, the ones on his arms are fairly useless. However, the ones on the top, you can still plug his old school Minicon onto. Now, comparing to the Minicon's colors, you can definitely tell his original color scheme from Armada. The Armada toy is not the cherry red color on this guy. And, I mean, even his old generation self was more of a color match, actually an exact color match, to the Minicon. And the other Starscream. However, yeah, I don't know. This one looks really good on his arm, I will say, minus the color matching. If you do want a color matched one, the Japanese version of this will have actually more paint apps on the legs. He looks more like the actual original toy did. And he'll have the same color match as this. But, so for now, let's play Transformation. Alright, so similarly, his arms kind of just there. They're different. Like, they're not folded down here like they used to be, but they're just hanging out. So start by pulling those down, which allows you to move the legs out into position. And that will allow you to come down here to the feet, rotate this up, pull out the heels, and then push in on the knee spur wing things. I'm going with knee spur. And then this whole upper body assembly, this whole assembly comes down, which, like in the original toy, as you're doing that, presses up the head differently. The original one here has a spring-loaded gimmick, which this one retains his motion somewhat. Alright, so then, once that folds up, this piece down here just kind of hangs out. Alright, I'm going to adjust the camera a little bit. There we go. So, at this point, you know, you can totally do a gear walk mode with this one, I think, if you really wanted to. But, anyway, I don't know, I kind of like this, just differently. Maybe I'll make a custom transformer that's just like this. Anyway, so this folds down with these two pegs here. Tab into these two down here. And that's where this one comes into play. This comes back down. This. There we go. Pegs in there. Then the wings rotate down. And one of the new features of this, the wings actually rotate or move around to get out of the way of the arms. And he's actually got some additional motion. So the hands come down. They're 5mm pegs, which means he can receive any of the 5mm weapons. Also, he in the original one from 2002, his wing came off to become a blade. This one doesn't have that feature exactly, but on the underside of the wings, there are two, I like using only one, swords that are folded up. They're translucent orange. You can paint them if you want. I have a defect on mine that when you rotating it out, it wants to pop itself out. It's a quality control issue. It's not on every figure. And then this just slides into his hand. I wish he had some wrist rotation, but he doesn't. But it's still not bad. So then, what if you don't want the enormous cannons on his shoulder? That whole thing slides back and becomes a jetpack, leaving him a nice range of motion for his head. Like, oh, I can look to the side now. Oh, I can look to the other side now. Which is kind of neat. I do like the changes they added to this guy. So, motion. I've talked about it a little bit, but there's some in the leg here. The feet. Knee joint over 90 degrees because of the transformation. Swivel in the thigh. Ball and socket joint hip. No waist swivel. There is a hinge for the shoulder, as well as a swivel, and a hinge here, with this nice little extra plastic piece that makes it look like his arm mechanics actually have a bit more mechanics to them, I should say. I don't know if that's accurate to say or not, but it does-ish. It gets the job done. It doesn't make him look hollow inside, even though he is. Then, he's got a swivel, like I think I mentioned that one, and then the hinge on the elbow, and then this, but I really don't count that as motion. Then the wings are on ball and socket joints back here. And that is Transformers Armada Generations Starscream. Now, it would be a shame if we didn't show him off with Transformers Universe Hotshot. Hotshot is a little bit taller. And by this image, actually looks like a head taller. Plus his head's bigger, which means they don't scale well with each other, but I don't know, they look pretty good. I still need to get I need to get a Star Saber and then a second one so that I can file it down to fit in his hands, because this guy surprisingly does not have standard 5mm pegs in his hands. Who knew? They're like 4.5 or something. But anyway, this is Starscream and Hotshot. And even this cherry red is not as bright as this one. But, yeah. And before anybody yells at me, because I get a comment every time I bring up the Armada Starscream, he's in the comic book, so he's not Armada. Blah! Well, yeah, that's because he's supposed to be an homage to the Armada one. The only reason he's in the comic book is because they're force-fitting the toys into the comics to sell more comics and more toys. But if you want to complain, feel free. That's what the comments are for. Anyway, so now I would like to do a small brief comparison, if I can fit him on the screen, easier said than done, with the original 2002 Armada Starscream. And as you see, the colors are different. The yellow apps are in the correct spots for the most part. Decepticon logos, I like the wings on both of them. They're both good for different reasons. Now, this is what I was talking about with the sword feature. Great. That's loose. I just got this one too. Anyway. That's pretty much... Oh, and he has sound effects, which obviously the deluxe version does not. Alright, so back to the deluxe version for a minute, because I just realized I forgot it. We've got this backpack that folds up and becomes his neural laser cannons, which, if you push on this back peg back here, this orange one, the yellow thing pops out, and then after that, the missiles do. Now, be warned, these missiles get warped very easy because you're pushing back here and the friction is here holding it in. Honestly, the only reason I keep them in is they're not spring loaded, so you don't have to worry about damaging the spring. And secondly, they actually look better. He actually looks better with them in. A lot of people have been taking this apart and removing the orange pieces from back here and cutting the missiles and then putting the missile pods back in here and to shorten up the length back there. I think it makes him look more authentic like this, because he did have that whole thing throughout the entire Armada cartoon. So to me, I don't find that as an issue. I find that as an aesthetically designed, intentional design. And then, if you don't like them, just fold them back. But, then again, it's not my business what people do with figures. I like him like this. And that means I gave him the ranking scale based on transformation, accuracy, paint, weapons, joints, posability, sturdiness, and other issues for a total of 9.6. This guy is almost a 10 figure. And I think he will continue being one of my favorites for a while. I mean, I say this compared to 10s are going to be the Jazz mold and the Cup mold, and I think the Drift mold might be a 9.8. So those are the comparisons. Those are the baseline comparisons. Oh, and 10 also being the Warpath mold. And so now I've talked your ear off for 13 minutes and 8 seconds. It is time for me to say goodbye. If you have any questions about Starscream, Transformers Armada, or anything else Transformers related, post a comment down below, and I will get back to you. If you don't want to post a comment and you fear that your non-stupid question might be a stupid question, then you can always personal message me. I'm okay with that too. So, without further ado, thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed.